All right, guys, here we are on phase three. We are rounding out the API endpoints here for our budget logic and dashboard. Here we've got our dashboard routes that we're going to have constructed, our budget routes that we're going to have constructed. That'll do some sort of aggregation and processing to, come up with some maths to quickly give us an idea as to where we're at in our budget. We've got our summary endpoints here. Go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to have some budget warning logic there to give us an indication as to whether we're over budget or something to that effect. We also have some budget warning logic here that we want to implement. So that way, we can see when we're getting close to being over budget or when we are over budget. We want to use SQL aggregation where possible. That way we offload some of the computation that happens or is required when we hit these endpoints. We want to push that off to the back end. That way it's a little bit faster and we're not just, pushing that to the browser. Maybe for scalability, we don't necessarily want to do that. We do maybe want to distribute that computation amongst a whole bunch of users via their browser. But for now, backend aggregation is totally fine. And then I've got a little prompt here, learning from the last prompt to also send back upon completion what it is we need to test our routes and our APIs in Postman. So I'm just going to direct Codex to this prompt and we'll go from there. And once again, if I run into any problems, I'll stop the video and we'll go through that. All right, looks like phase three has finished up. We have our results here. We still have the server running thanks to NodeMon. So let's close it out using Control C. We'll clear that. And we do want to run our DB setup job because we've probably got some new tables and new information we want to seed into that database. So we'll run the seed and then we will run the server. So everything looks good. Now let's get into Postman and test some of these routes. So here we are in Postman. I'll make this quick because I don't want to be redundant and go over what we already went over in the last video. But basically, I'm just following Codex's output here as far as setting up our routes. So we're going to have, as you can see, we've got a new dashboard route. We've got 3 get routes there. And then we have our budget route with 3 routes here, a get, a post, and a put. So I came over here and I created a dashboard folder with the 3 get routes and a budget folder with the 3 other routes. So let's test dashboard real quick. We copy and paste this from Codex, so it already gave us an example. So we'll just test it out. We get our summary back, so that looks good. Same thing with a category. We get our category breakdown back and get our monthly categories. So we get that back. The testing looks good there. So we'll just go to budget. Like I said, this is coming from Codex, so you can copy and paste the URL here, hit send, and that works. We want to add a budget. Now the caveat for these ones are you want to add the body information. So we went to body, selected raw, make sure we had JSON. And I just copied this from Codex. I posted that there and we hit send. It already exists for that year and month, but we can test a different month. We'll do August and there we go. It creates it. And we have our put route that updates one and we'll hit that and it is updated. So we can get all of our budget and yeah, it looks good. So the routes are tested, the dashboard and the budget APIs are working, the gets, the puts, the posts, and all that good stuff. So we'll move on to phase four now. Phase four is a big one. This is where we implement authentication and authorization. This is what really bifurcates this application from the other ones in which we developed. Now, with the implementation of users and registrations and logins and all that good stuff, there's some important things we need to implement, like hashing of passwords and handling that information in a responsible way. But also with the user implementation, we're going to be able to associate user data with a very specific user. So that way, just like any other site you go to with a login, you get your data and not somebody else's. We definitely wouldn't want that. So I'll see you in the next one.